for us to really take the initiative from a different perspective. We wanted to really think out of the box because the old ways did not work for us. It did not improve the lives of our people. And so the first step was for us to get connected. Just like what Frank said, that those in the small villages are forgotten. It is, has always been that pattern. The weak, the strong always leave the weak behind. And the poor who have a chance to get a better education, to achieve success, accumulate wealth, oftentimes forget the poor, the many others, thousands of others who were left behind. And so it has always been a pattern of being out, wanting to be ahead of the pack, and not realizing that our goal should be not just to leave everyone behind and cross the finish line alone, but for us to bring as many people to cross the finish line. And there's some bit of history and nostalgia with seeing Andrew here, because at some point in your organization's life, you also work with SIDA and LGSP. And we realized that the response, the solution to our problem will not come from government alone, because it has always been a pattern of dependence on politics and religion. And we always depended everything in government and blamed everything on them. And while in our initial discussion with LGSP, we talk about good governance, but my focus has always been about good citizenship, because a weak people will always choose weak leaders, and good citizenship will only come from a deep love of country. That Singapore was at the root of Singapore's success. That is at the heart also of the success of Japan and Korea, which was absent in ours, because we always thought that that love of country was about eating adobo and dancing the tinikling. It is, but we perpetuated, a pattern of life that just deepened our poverty. I call this the 3 M's of poverty. One is that people who live at the survival mode because of the scarcity environment would be migratory, and so the homeless and the hungry in the countryside because of the failure of social justice, where 70% of our people are still landless, and we have not corrected, the scandal of history when the King of Spain took over all our land and just gave ownership to a few families. And so we have become, the poor would migrate to the urban areas and become informal settlers or squatters, and living hand-to-mouth systems, which we call isang kahig, isang tuka. Would also perpetuate a culture of mendicancy. So we see beggars and scavengers all over the big cities in our country, which when Filipinos come to Canada, there's almost 500,000 here. You don't see a Filipino scavenger or a squatter or a beggar in the streets of Canada. Not even in the United States, but there's more than 4 million of them. So you realize, seeing all of this, that it is not in our cultural DNA to be a loser, to be a beggar, or to be a squatter. So I started to see early that the problem of poverty, before it is economic, was a behavioral problem. Because when a human being, when a Filipino is brutalized by poverty, he also becomes predatory. So migratory, and he becomes mercenary, particularly the male. And so 95% of our criminals are men. Our rebels in the countryside are men. Our most corrupt politicians are men. But most poverty interventions focus on women.